I will say though, that rejection thing's a real thing. I'd get done with my job and I'd go over there and it was like 10:30 at night. I've got all this paint supplies and tool belts in the back of my Ford Taurus. It was my company car. And I'm like, man, if I don't do this, like it doesn't get done. The journey is the destination. And that's the one thing that I learned through that dark time of my divorce. It's like, oh, just because I checked all these boxes that I thought meant happy, like, oh, marry pretty girl, build big house, buy new cars, like that may give me temporary joy. But like this journey is like this whole thing is the destination. Like there is no destination, you know? And so the podcast is no different. My real estate game's no different.
Welcome back to the Wealthy Cowboy Show. I've got a guy on today that I've been wanting to have on for a long time. Big fan of his show, the Converse Cowboy, Mike Roberts. And I'm excited because I know from the little I know about him, I think he's got a lot of value to share, and can relate to a lot of y'all can relate to his journey and all that. So how's it going?
I'm doing well, my friend.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
We always start with your background. I know you've had you didn't start out in this world or genre or whatever, but I think it's still relatable to a lot of people from what I know about it. And let's start with your journey, kind of how you grew up and where you went from there.
Journey into what world, though?
Into this. Well, now you're into the kind of the cowboy world.
The equine cowboy, yeah.
And I know you're in professional, or not professional sports, but you were in sports, mainstream sports, baseball before that.
Mm-hmm.
Got into sales, and then I know I want you to explain all this, but then some things happened, changed, and you've just had a whole mindset shift, it seems like. And now you're on a journey to learn what it's all about.
Yeah. I'll do my best to like give you my life rundown in 30 seconds here. So yeah, grew up in a small town in North Louisiana, and grew up playing all sports, but really stuck to baseball. You know, I gravitated towards that, and very supportive parents growing up. I had one younger brother who was a terrible athlete, coming from a family full of athletes. He did find his way in golf, but that was about it. But yeah, so I went on, and I had one goal in life was to play professional baseball. That was it, you know? And so a lot of people struggle with like, what am I going to do? What is my purpose? Like, there was no question. Like, it was baseball 100%. And so I played, and I ended up walking on to a local college there in Monroe, Louisiana. Grades weren't good enough. So they're like, we're going to send you to a JUCO. You go get some experience. You can, so I was about to make a dumb joke, but you can be dumb and play up there, you know, like, so I got some experience. I went to a JUCO in Kansas for a year, followed a girl down in Nicholls State, is where I finished up my baseball career. And it was one of those times where it was like I was burnt out playing baseball, which was a good thing, I guess, because they didn't ask me to keep playing. So it was like it
was a mutual breakup, I guess.
Yeah, but it was one of those. It was a very dark time. Like, I didn't know it was depression at the time, but it was because like I said, my entire identity was I'm a baseball player. That was all I knew I ever wanted to do. And whenever I was not asked to do it anymore, it was like, oh shit, now what, you know? And so then I
feel like that's where I was going, like with the relatability, because even though it's not ranching or rodeo, but that time comes, like that was the same deal with me. It was like, I don't know why I thought this. I didn't win all the time, but I was like, rodeo is that's all I'm gonna do for my whole life. Like, I'm just gonna rope. And I feel like there's just a lot of stories out there like that where you have to reinvent yourself. Of you can't ranch anymore, you can't rodeo or rope anymore, or can't train horses. It's not working. Like, and you have to shift and pivot.
Well, you see it and this is a completely, I'm not comparing myself to anybody in the military, but that's why PTSD is a real thing. Like these folks, they're soldiers and they go to war and they, again, like this is a completely other thing. Like they're seeing their friends die and then they're asked to come back and be civilians in the real world. And it's like, man, you can't do that. But you see it with athletes too. Me, it was in college. There's professional athletes that go on and at some point that's going to end. And then it's like, what is life after that? And so for me, I ended up finding my way into sales. I started chasing money and a lot of my friends were in pharmaceutical sales. And so, yeah, I started working my ass off on how do I do that thing? I remember like my first interview, my parents bought me a suit and I had the red power tie and it was like 3 sizes too big, what is that? The Men's Warehouse. I got my first suit and I all but got laughed out of the first pharmaceutical interview.
For sales?
Yeah. Like I remember passing guys in the waiting room. They were waiting to go in and do their interview and there was 2 managers across the thing from me and I can't answer any of their questions because they're like, tell me a time when. And they want to hear your experience. And I'm like, listen, I don't have experience, but I promise you, I can do this thing you want me to do. And at some point in the interview, I realized I said, okay, guys, I'm not getting the gig. I get it. What can I do to get the experience you are looking for, And so they were very kind and it became like this lesson. They're like, that guy that you passed in the waiting room has 10 years selling vacuum cleaners door to door. Like, that is what you're competing against, And so they were like, go get some business to business sales experience. And so that's what I did. I moved to Dallas, Texas, started selling office supply sales. And I did it for 6 months and then I landed a gig in pharmaceutical sales. Like I saw why they wanted that guy that sold vacuum cleaners. Just the ability to communicate, the ability to ask questions, the ability to handle objections and be told no numerous times. And got kicked out of so many buildings in Dallas, Fort Worth,
was that
soliciting?
That was that's what I want to ask you, like the same experience, because I got into sales and kind of like you mentioned, it's I wouldn't say it's not for everybody. I'd say some people, handle it better, but you got to deal with a lot of rejection and also push yourself to learn how to communicate and and be better at it. Which I still do work on that. Did you get the same? Was it pivotal for you? I also think that baseball players should be better at sales because you're used to failing more than succeeding. Did you relate it at all like that, or what was your mindset during the whole thing?
I think so, and you're right. Like there was a reason, like pharmaceutical companies at that time, and they probably still do, they were hiring military, they were hiring athletes because of that reason. Yeah, in baseball, you can fail 7 out of 10 times and you're going to have a career, playing that game. So yeah, I was always able to handle it, but I will say though, that rejection thing's a real thing. When I got into pharmaceuticals, and God dang, it's so much rejection. Like it's hard to not take it personal, and you're taught to be a chameleon. Go in and adapt to the situations. Well, then at some point you do that enough. I was like, who the fuck am I? Like what am I doing? And so. At some point in there, I went through layoffs and survived. I saw friends go through layoffs, but I knew that it was a very volatile business. And so I started thinking to myself, I was still in my 20s at this time. I was like, man, I got to do something else. Like, what can I do to make money and not be there to make the money?
Yeah.
Because I still have this full-time gig. And so real estate and rental properties is what came to mind. And I read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it all just made sense to me. I'm a very slow learner and very simple-minded, but for some reason, all of that stuff clicked. And it was like, why aren't schools teaching this stuff? This is like very important information. Yeah, I don't necessarily need to know who won the battle or the war in 1805. But this stuff, this is what I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought a rental property, did a lot of things wrong, paid too much money, did all of that stuff, learned a lot of lessons. A year later, I bought another one. And then fast forward, I've been doing it ever since. At some point, maybe 5 years ago, I was able to walk away from the pharmaceutical game, and I just do rental property and real estate full time now.
Same deal going back. I think Rich Dad Poor Dad was probably one of the first non-Western books I probably read. Same deal. I was day working and cowboying and not making a whole lot of money. And I was like, I don't know. I heard some podcast or something, learned who Grant Cardone was and stuff, and a few other real estate people. And I was like, this real estate's same deal. It's I can go cowboy, but it can be making me actual money over here. I never have pulled the trigger that way, but that was my first deal. But what Rich Dad Poor Dad does teach you, at least if you don't do the real estate, is assets, liabilities. We just talked about that on the last episode with Jonathan from the ag banking side, and I get asked this a lot from people wanting to start, buy a ranch or their own operation or any of it. You got to have capital, and same deal when I got a loan. I didn't know what financial statement was. I didn't know what the difference in an asset and liability, cash flow, all this stuff was foreign. All ties together. Ranching is a business. Real estate can be a business. A business is a business. Sales is a business. So it all kind of ties together. So yeah, there's a lot of good lessons in that book. Did you just read that book and go out and just go buy a property, or did you go get any more mentorship or anything, or how did that go?
Yeah, so that would have been in 2009, and I'm trying to think back.
It was on sale then. At that point in time, wasn't it? Real estate.
Yeah, but this was a for sale by owner. I think that's the only for sale by owner I've ever bought, because those people want too much money for their property. But yeah, you're referring to the crash. Yeah, there was a lot of real estate to be had. I was still too naive to capitalize on that, on the market. But no, I read that book, man. And like I said, I did a lot of things wrong, and I still had a lot of questions, right? And so I would go, the banker I was using at the time, I would ask them questions and real estate agent questions. And this is important, because I think a lot of people getting in the game think these people have the answer. And I came to find out they fucking don't, or they would be doing it, right? And so I was just thirsty for answers, and I was looking everywhere for it, and I finally found Rich Dad Poor Dad offered a class. And so I go, it was a free class. You show up, it was in Dallas, I think. And of course, at the free class, they sell you on the weekend. The
upsell, yeah.
$400, $500. Well, at the $400 or $500 one, they upsell you on the big one, right? And so the big one was $30,000 year long coaching, teaching, and gosh, I remember sitting in the hotel room that night, and I'm looking at this sheet of the different options on what I can do. I'm thinking about this pharmaceutical game that I really want to get out of, and I really want to do this thing. And so, yeah, I spent the $30,000. Did a full year with Robert Kiyosaki's people, and dude, that was a godsend, because I still use the systems and tools that I learned that year. And so then the same questions I asked that banker and those agents, I learned, and I'm like, hey, can we do this? And they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, what the fuck? And I don't know if it was the way I asked it, or maybe I didn't use the right words the first time, but yeah, I had that 30 grand paid back in 6 months.
Yeah. It's, I think it's funny when you look on the MLS or whatever, look at a listing and they put great investment opportunity or investment property or something. And it's well, if it's so great, why don't you buy it? You get first shot at it.
Yeah. Now I need to cover my ass, because I do work with a lot of great bankers and there are those out there that are investor friendly and they do get the game. They understand it.
Well, it's not like they're trying to deceive you. It's that they don't know, probably.
Yeah. Hey, I remember there were title companies. I was trying to do like an assignment early on that I learned in this class. And the title company was like, is this legal? And at the time I hadn't done one. So I was like, fuck, I hope so. I just learned it in this thing. But then through that, I found another title company that was investor friendly. And they were like, yeah, we do assignments all the time. And absolutely, it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
So just finding the right team, you know?
Right. And to go back to your sales, I think we need to back up on that. I mean, that was, I'm going to assume that sales jobs, I mean, or you get what you put out. And if you had success, and like you said, you survived some layoffs and stuff, I assume that you're making pretty good money, but like you said, you still weren't happy with it. Which is what we, it's called the Wealthy Cowboy Show, but the wealth isn't all about just chasing the dollar. Even though it can give you options. I mean, it gave you the option to buy that course and then actually give you real freedom. What was it that pushed you out of the sales, the pharmaceutical sales? Like, DX Trailer Sales is based out of Lubbock, Texas, and it's definitely not just a trailer dealership. If you are involved in the Western way of life, and if you're listening to this show, you probably are, they have something you need. From trailers for a day working cowboy to a full-time cattle hauler to hay trailers for a farmer or rancher to arena drags, rope and chutes, and feeders for the rodeo cowboy or cowgirl. They also deal in every kind of hay any of your animals could ever need. Literally anything you need for farming, ranching, or rodeoing, they have something for you. And it's going to be at a super affordable price. Besides all that, everyone you deal with there is super friendly and helpful. We just got new custom flatbeds built for our pickups, and I also got probably the coolest trailer you've ever seen built. And you can stay tuned for a video we're gonna do, and it's gonna show all of that and some more of their products also. So check out DX Trailer Sales on Facebook or dxtrailers.com.
I feel like people that were that are still in a position that I was in, like making 150 plus thousand a year, company car, great benefits. You're working like 20 hours a week. If I'm being honest, as a pharmaceutical sales, you're not working that hard. So, I was lacking meaning, and so that's like, let me go back. Like, those are called the golden handcuffs for a reason. They have you there, and you're making good money. So it's hard to walk away from that. Whereas like somebody that's grinding it, that like has their back against the wall, I feel like almost, it sounds crazy to say, but I feel like they almost have an advantage because they have like this dog fighter mentality that they're just doing the thing, you know? And so what was it that finally drove me out of that? I think it was a bad manager. You know, that game of sales, having a good manager can make you or break you. And I was very fortunate early in my career, all the way up to that last guy. I had great managers that just said, you're doing well. Like, here's what we could be doing different, but like, keep doing what you're doing. That guy, though, was a micromanager, and it was really just a personality conflict. And that's what it comes down to, too. I mean, he's a great manager. If you're the corporation that's hiring him, he's looking after their assets. So, of course, like, someone could call him a good manager. I didn't much care for him because he just stayed up in my shit. And he's the guy that drove me out. Yeah. And luckily, it was at a time when I was not willing to, again, the golden handcuffs. Like, I was not willing to just jump, but I was like, dude, if you don't do it now, like, you're going to get back into this game, a pharmaceutical game, and continue down that road. Like, now's the time you do it.
And I was going to ask you this question a while ago when we got on the subject, but what was it that kind of drove you to pharmaceutical sales? Was that just what you saw were around, or was like, it seemed like that was the goal at one point in your life, is to get into that? Yeah,
I had some friends that were doing it. I had some coaches that got out of college baseball, high school, like, that went into pharmaceutical sales. I just knew it was lucrative. I knew from my friends that, like I said, 20 hours a week, you kind of set your own schedule. So there was some autonomy there.
Yeah. You were just like, this sounds like the life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know Ryan Pineda at all?
Mm-mm.
So it's kind of where I got the Wealthy Cowboy show. His stuff is all wealthy, but you'd probably like his content because he actually played in the minor leagues, but he was a baseball player. That's all he knew. Same deal. Actually got to flipping couches and stuff, and then got into real estate. Now he's a big real estate investor, and he does lots of other stuff now. But you might check him out.
Ryan Pineda.
Yeah.
Right
He's
on.
in Vegas.
Cool.
But y'all would have somewhat similar story with the baseball background and stuff.
Yeah.
And then going to real estate.
Yeah, I'll check him out.
And then jumping around again, back to the real estate. What was when you started learning, like, I've studied it a lot. I've never pulled the trigger, but like, what did they tell you, or like to go buy rental property? Or are they telling you to wholesale first, fix and flip, or just you're kind of doing all of it, or how did that work?
You mean at that course?
At the course, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they direct you one way or the other?
They had different courses that you could do. There was like creative financing was one. I remember there was like land development was another. They're not really guiding you. They're like, you pick which path you want to go down, and like, here's like some cool stuff to help you do that thing. Mm-hmm. But I remember like what that course helped me, because I was studying it so much, like looking for answers. That course was like, oh yeah, you don't want to pay cash. Like, cause I'm like, do I want to pay cash for property? Do I want to leverage? Do I like, what do I do? And, it just taught like the power of leverage, right? And like, leverage is like a loaded gun. Like, it can really fuck some stuff up if you don't know what you're doing, or you can go kill a nice buck, you know, like, and use a gun to do it. Much better than a Bowie knife, you know? So, yeah, I forgot your question already, but I'm trying to like go back into that
mindset.
Yeah.
What path did you go down? What course did you take in there? Like, what?
I did the creative financing, because that was the one thing, like I said, I couldn't get the answer from the banker. And I didn't have a lot of money at the time. So I was like, okay, that would be a good option. And they tell you, another one was like how to renovate a property. Like that was something I was always just kind of like savvy with, but I learned a lot there. Like, I still use the same paint color that we used back then, you know, so every house we have is cookie cutter, same tile, same floor, same paint. Otherwise, you're going to be in Home Depot shopping cabinets for, you know, every week. So it's like, how do you like scale this business and like cut down the time that you're needed to be in the business, right? Mm-hmm. And then that was the other thing, like leveraging and people.
Yeah. So was that a lift? Did you find yourself at first like having to work harder than you were in the sales job? Like, were you, I guess, like on the property, once you got one bought, were you having to help fix it up and all that stuff?
Yeah. So the very first one I bought, my uncle was I say was because he passed away, but he was an electrician. Like, he was just an all around handyman. He was a great guy. And we had a lot of fun on that one. I learned how to do all the things. I learned how to lay floor. I learned how to do electrical work. I learned how to put tile in the back. All the shit that I don't want to do today, I learned how to do that. And I learned on that one. And then the very next one, it was next door, a property that was next door to that one. It had foreclosed. I got it bought. And it was on the second one. It was like, man, I'd get done with my job and I'd go over there. And it was like 10:30 at night. I've got all this paint supplies and tool belts in the back of my Ford Taurus. It was my company car. And I'm like, man, if I don't do this, like, it doesn't get done. And so it was like light bulbs started going off. And that was the last property that I've ever worked on, because what I learned is it's taking me longer to learn how to do it. I'm screwing up a whole lot of stuff that I'm having to redo, and I'm getting very frustrated. So yeah, I started outsourcing everything And luckily, I had a job that allowed me to do that. I tell people it's harder, or it's just as hard to have 3 rental properties as it is to have 50, because once you have 50, then you can afford the maintenance guy, to go handle a lot of the calls, work orders.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, relating it back to ranching, there's just so many similarities to. It's the same deal. Like it's the same. You have to have the same infrastructure to run 100 cows versus 500 cows.
Mm-hmm.
Same deal as in a company. You can get, if you're going to have 10 employees, you might as well have 50 employees, or whatever. There's like a point. I know I've talked to like Porterfield and horse trainers too about your point of when if you hire one more person, then you have to take 10 more horses in.
Yeah,
or like if you just want to do it, you and your wife do it, just take 10 and you might make the same amount of money as having 15 and hiring somebody else or whatever.
Yeah, there's a point of diminishing return, and there is like that sweet spot you're talking about. Yeah.
Do you think like if somebody was going to get in to real estate or something like that, do you suggest do you appreciate that time? Like, how to do the things now, so you kind of know what to expect, or do you think somebody could just source it out from the start?
What I want to understand your question.
So, like, if you were going to start over again in real estate and you're on the course and everything, and you bought a house, and like you said, the first 2 you did most of the work yourself. Mm-hmm. Looking back now, would you do that so you could learn it all, or would you immediately just outsource it? I
think, I don't know. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I still own that house today. I'm glad I did it. Yeah. If I had it to do over again, it's hard to answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I hear
how it played out.
I just hear some people in like companies, if they work their way up from the bottom and they've done every job, they can maybe manage better. They know what to expect. They know the struggles that you're having and all that. So I don't know if now
it definitely helps. Like whenever, subs come in and they're telling you it's going to take 3 weeks, when like you do this job very shitty and you can do it in a week. Like, something's off.
Kind of what to expect.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long did it take you once you got the real estate deal to give up the sales?
Well, that was in 2009 that I bought my first one. And I think I walked away from pharmaceuticals in like 2018.
Oh, so you were in it for a while.
Yeah, almost 10 years.
Did it just take you that long to get your cash flow built up to be comfortable, or
Dude, it's a slow game, man. It's like I say, it's a get rich slow game.
Mm-hmm.
And it took, again, I'm a slow
Which
learner.
really that's fast if you look at the grand scheme of things. I was expecting a few years or something.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing the pharmaceutical thing full time, but I was also doing real estate full time too. Like, meaning like any spare moment I had, I was tracking properties down and trying to acquire as much as I could. It was like this slow build, and then once it hit, it was just like, I can remember one week I was closing on a property every day. And even now, like we're closing on properties every week. Just buying power gets stronger, and it takes a while. Like leads will come in, and my brother runs the company with me now, and we'll get calls, and they're like, "Hey, I've got this letter from you about 3 years ago, and I'm ready to sell now." It just takes a while.
Yeah, and once you get that kind of a brand and your name out there, you're buying a certain type of thing, then people reach out to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you were actually like door knocking, cold calling, searching for off market deals or something.
Yeah, I can probably count on one hand how many deals we bought from the MLS.
Mm.
Yeah, if it hits the MLS, we're too late.
Yeah. How was that? Like, how was that journey to learn lead generation? And I mean, you're already in sales, so Was it?
Yeah, it just like having the ability to have those conversations effectively was a step in the right direction. But yeah, there's another thing that I learned like through that Rich Dad class, and it's somewhat of an antiquated model, but yet it still works. Just old school, get on the phone. Of course, that's the other thing. It's like this funnel, and there's a number of ways that we're trying to get leads, but for whatever reason, I like the old school, like get on the phone, let's talk about it, and we'll come look at your property. And
yeah, that's what, so like Ryan Pineda, I've heard him talk about the lead generation, and they've ran TV ads, mails, cold call, door knock, the whole deal. And it's pretty interesting. So like you say 18 when you quit sales and you're just full-time real estate?
Something like that. Yeah.
What, you kind of had your freedom there. When did you what was your journey into the cutting horses or into horses in general? Like, did that come at that time when you got a little bit more freedom, or how did that come about?
So the horse thing, so I would have married into that. I was married once upon a time. The girl I was married to, her family had still has one of the largest ranches in Louisiana. Well, with any big ranch, you have to have cowboys to run the deal, right? And so I got to be really good friends with those guys. They were around my age, and they were heavy into team roping. So I started out team roping, which is not the best avenue if you're trying to learn horsemanship. And so I kind of like my brain works. Like I just got curious, and I just was fascinated by horses and the psychology of a horse and training horses. And like once my questions got beyond their ability to answer them, I came to Texas and started asking questions over here. And the one guy I came to was Dick Peeper. And so Dick would have been the guy who owned Playgun, if you remember that horse. And he was a wealth of knowledge. Like he's the one that opened my eyes to this whole horsemanship thing. And I started learning proper horsemanship. And so I go through, I said I was married. I go through this divorce, and but I still have this fascination with horses. I come out to one of the futurity sales, and it was an emotional purchase, but I buy this yearling, a highbrow cat yearling out of a Playgun mare, not cheap to buy. And I'm like, I wasn't in the cutting. I wasn't in cow horse. I was just a guy that knew how to throw a rope, kinda. And I remember the guy that owned the horse came down after the sale and was like, hey man, congratulations. Like, what are you going to do with him? And I was like, I don't fucking know. I have no idea. But I got this really cool highbrow cat stud, gray stud colt. And anyway, that next year is when I started the Converse Cowboy, and I did an interview with a guy named James Payne. And James Payne is in the cutting horse world and a really good hand. Like he's in my eyes, one of the best trainers around today. He's a great showman, great horseman. And so I did an interview with him, and I ended up putting that horse in training with him. I was always kind of fascinated with cutting and cow horse. Again, just horses, high caliber horses in general. And so yeah, and then I put that horse in training with him, and I bought a Woody B. Tough mare, 5-year-old at the time, and from the Cowans up in Oklahoma. And then I started showing, dude. And it kind of like that brought me back into the whole mindset of performance. And, from my baseball days, now it's in the cutting. And there's been a number of things that fill the gaps in between then. But yeah, I'm still doing the cutting horse thing today. So
that's what I was kind of wondering, if the horses came in and gave you that purpose, or whatever you might call it, something to do. Like, it just seems like, I look at city people and it's like, you go to work, you come home, watch TV, like cook out on the weekends, you drink beer or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like with the horse people, it's always come home and work or rope or, whatever, like it's some meaning there, structure, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nature. It's like I don't know. There's something about horses, man. It's like one of my favorite things to do is just sit in the barn in the morning with coffee and like listen to them eating. It's calm and no distractions, no noise. That's what I'm about nowadays is fucking just eliminate the distractions
Yeah.
and the noise. And I know that sounds easy, but, or simple. But it can be a challenge at times, you know?
Yeah. Simple, not easy.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the cutting compared to learning the team roping? Was it easier, or you just liked it better, or you like what drew you? Just because you had a cut and bred type horse, is that you think, and met that right person that took you that way?
I think it was the horsemanship thing again. So the connection, there is a connection between Dick Pieper and James Payne. When James was in high school, he went to work for Dick. So he was like, Dick was his mentor. So there was a lot of similarities. I had known Dick, I don't know, 4-ish years at that time. So their programs were very similar. You know, like I'm still trying to figure out the cutting game, dude. There's so many elements to that thing. Roping, it's like, yeah, not to diminish that, but yeah, how fast can you get your rope on the horns, go left, and they heel it?
Mm-hmm.
Cutting, it's this whole other thing, dude.
Yeah.
There's so much feel and timing and angles, and yeah, it's just a different game, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is so frustrating, and it's also what keeps me coming back.
It's almost like like rodeo was my main deal.
What did you do? What event?
Calf roping was my main one, but when I was in high school, I did calf roping, team roping, and bulldogging.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I came from. Like you said, it's just it's just different than the show horse and cutting cow horse. And then I married she's into the cow horse stuff, and it's just like I've been to some ranch horse shows and stuff, and it's like you don't know what you don't know, and then once you get into it, it just you just keep coming up with more questions and stuff. It's like a whole unraveling. It's funny. Every brand out there claims they've built the ultimate Western performance shirt, but most of them are more involved in other industries. Finally, there's one that actually is different. Introducing Horn Knot. One detail changes the game. This has literally never been done before. A patent-pending hidden zipper pocket with an extendable lens cloth, so you can clean your shades or your phone without untucking your shirt. It's simple, smart, and practical. I also like that you can fit your phone in the front pocket. And here's what I love. Horn Knot kept their designs classic, the most traditional pearl snaps you'll find anywhere. Great colors and vintage pocket designs. These are the same shirts I wear to work in, and you've probably seen me wearing them right here on the podcast. They even built a ladies line, not fake pockets or bad fits, but real Western shirts built to flatter and function. My wife Shady shows and works in these shirts, and there's nothing else like them.
Get yours today and save 20% with code Crockett at hornknot-brkwy.com. Horn Knot and Breakaway. Learn more at hornknot-brkwy.com.
But you're seeing more of that now with the rope horse futurities and those guys. Man, they have those things polished up real nice.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different. I feel like it's a different sport altogether than like your typical jackpot team roping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you go to like a low numbered anything, then you're gonna see a lot of errors and stuff. You can see all kinds of stuff, but yeah, when you get to that high level of in any of those sports, most of those guys are horsemen in any regard.
Yeah.
So tell me that the horses and the podcast kind of came right there together. I mean, like when you bought that cutting horse, bought that colt, what made you want to start the podcast?
Well, I went through, again, that divorce. I was going through this really dark time. I was kind of on the way. I was coming out of that time, and I was looking for like, what is the next level of growth for me personally, and I remember the word vulnerable was coming up. It's like, you need to be more vulnerable, get over this ego of presenting perfection, because that was what took the biggest hit when I got divorced. It was like, oh no, I'm about to get exposed. Like, we had this perfect life from the outside looking in, but inside looking in, I knew all along it wasn't right. Like something didn't feel right. And so that was it. It's like, okay, well, this isn't going to be a show about me like telling other people how to live. This is going to be a show about like, I'm going to share experiences that I've been through and lessons learned and earned secrets that I've been through. And I want to, have guests on to essentially have those same conversations. You can go on social media and look at somebody's highlight reel, but we're going to do the low light reel on this podcast on the Converse Cowboy. And so it just so happened like, yes, I wear Converse shoes and I wear a cowboy hat. And it's a play on words, the Converse Cowboy.
Yeah. I always wondered that, like, because it is, you wear the Converses, but also conversational, like.
Yeah. And people ask all the time, how did you come up with that name? Well, I don't remember what year it was, but I walked into a house party in Louisiana, and there was some drunk redneck there. He's a friend of mine. And he's like, who do you think you are, the Converse Cowboy? And I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And I just kind of mental note, you know, and then a few years later, I'm trying to come up with names for the podcast, and that one stuck. So, but the other thing is like the performance side. So people ask, like, what is the Converse Cowboy about? And so I'm like, well, we have conversations and we dive into people's mindsets that are performing anything. You can be a horse trainer, a musician, even authors of books. They're not performing necessarily, but they are creating, right? And so what is your mindset to do this thing and to do it consistently and at a high level? And then the other part of the show is like, let's talk about your mindset just as a human and all of the mental health things that most people don't talk about. We're going to talk about all of those things. And it's been neat, dude. You can probably attest to this. Like, you get in front of these microphones, cameras go on, lights, and it's like this platform for people to have this conversation that you don't have because of these on the street or passing somebody, that at a horse show, you see people and it's, hey, how you doing? And you keep going. It's very much a pattern. And
I've had my friends on and heard stories and learned about their life, things I didn't know that I've been friends with for years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I identify as an introvert. So like this one-on-one thing I jive with, but you get more people than that in a room and I'm just going to like find a corner somewhere and I'm going to be by myself,
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that was a long-winded answer and I don't even know if I answered your question, dude, but
yeah. How did you get those first, if I remember right, did you get an RV and go on the road for your first several episodes? Or
yeah, I did. It was me and two friends of mine. One guy that just barely knew how to run the camera, and then another guy that just wanted to drive. He wasn't working or doing anything at the time, and so he drove the RV. And dude, we had a blast, man.
I bet.
Where did we go? Yeah, we would have went to.
Y'all went like all like cow country first, kind of, and right, like Buster and.
So that would have been the second time.
Okay.
That would have been like later that summer. My buddy that was running the camera, he found something better to do, and my other buddy, I think he got married. He was gone. So I had a real camera crew for the second one, and those guys are badass. Luckily, he knew how to drive an RV, and so he rented a bigger RV for this one. And yeah, man, we went to my buddy Dusty Burson up at the Sixes, TJ Roberts when he was with Tongue River, Terry Forrest at Stewart Ranch, Buster Frierson, and Dusty Whitford. He's a 2-year-old guy out of Weatherford. I think that was it. But dude, yeah.
How did you know those people, or did you just reach out to them?
I knew Dusty because I bought a play gun gelding from him years ago. Oh, Trip Townsend was another one. How could I leave Trip out? Yeah, Trip Townsend was the other one. Earth, Texas. Shout out Earth, Texas. I didn't know Buster. I knew Trip just from being around the sales. I didn't know Terry. So yeah, I would just reach out. Yeah, just DM, I guess, on Instagram and see if folks are interested. I'm sure I messaged more people that said no, but yeah, that filled the schedule though.
Who were your first ones?
Dick Peeper would have been the very first one, just because I knew him, and then James Payne, Joey Jemison, and I didn't really know Jimmy or Joey at the time, or James. And then shortly after that, COVID hit, and it was just everything was on the computer.
Yeah.
Between that first RV trip and the second RV trip, it was like that weird COVID time, you know?
I bet that just sounds like a blast, just hitting the road in an RV and just.
Well, it is, and it was cool because those guys that were on the camera crew, they didn't know this world. They didn't know the cowboy world, and so it was cool to see them seeing that and experiencing it for the first times. And one of the things they said, I think it was after we did the Buster Frierson interview, they're like, man, it's like people like this exist. Like this is a I remember verbatim, this is a redeemer in humanity. Especially, and then every one we would go to, we went to Dusty and then Trip and then Terry. It was like, holy shit, no way there's people like this that exist in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are all good ones. Is that kind of what drew you in the horse deal too, was the people, just being around cool people? I know you said you got
I think just the authenticity of it. Yeah. Certain ones. You know, people want to throw a blanket over this Western industry, and there's so many different disciplines within the Western industry, and then even within those disciplines, there's different. I don't want to use the word like categories. I don't know the word I would want to use, but I'm just fascinated by horses, man. Like hot rod elite horses. Yeah.
Have you got into the cow horse at all, or just you kind of just?
I did some RHAA stuff, but no, I haven't. I'd love to. I'd like to go down the fence.
Yeah, just adds.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
You have?
I don't know, 3 or 4 shows or something. Not very many.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of when, like I said, when Shady's the main one. I would rather rope, but I like riding those horses and stuff. And so, like, if she's gonna go enter somewhere, then she's like, well, why don't you enter too? I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll start working on lead changes and stuff the week of and just go.
Yeah.
Which drives her crazy. Because I'm just like, I don't care. We'll go enter.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
We'll kick and pull. What have been like some takeaways? I know it's like, I'm sure it's evolved for you the same way the podcast has for me. Like what are some takeaways and things you like about it?
About the podcast?
Mm-hmm. Is it different than you expected or thought, or did you have any expectations going into it?
God, yeah, it has changed, man. I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, I really don't know how to answer that, dude. Maybe ask it again in a different way.
Is it what you thought it would be? Are you getting out of it, or did you just not?
There's times like recently where I think we were talking about this before we got going. It's like, why am I doing this again? Like, how much is it costing me to do this?
Yeah.
But then I look at the relationships I've made and the friendships I've been able to have and the conversations I've been able to have. I mean, I learned something from every one of these things that I get to do. And so, yeah, maybe I didn't expect that. One thing is, like, not everybody that comes on the show is going to be my friend, you know, like that. I had to learn that too, because I'll take it personal. Like, I spend a lot of time prepping and I get to know these people and we have this cool conversation and then they disappear and like I never hear from them again. And then there's the opposite. It's like I'll see musicians and they're coming to town and they're like, hey, putting you on the guest list, like come hang out. And like that wouldn't have happened before the podcast, you know? So it's open doors and Yeah, it's been a good, I guess the reason I started, the intention was for personal growth, and it does that because as with anything, you know, like your level of success grows, your notoriety grows. Well, so does your hate. It grows like people judging, and like you just gotta, like, I'm saying you, like it's me. Like I've learned, like, be true to your intention. Like know why you're showing up. Know why I'm showing up, and it's okay. Like if people don't agree with something I may say, or I may sound like a buffoon about something. It's okay. Nobody's going to remember this shit. We're all going to be dead in 100 years, right? And I love that quote. It sounds morbid, but it's like, do the thing, man. Like, just keep showing up. Like, know why you're showing up, and keep doing that thing.
Like, it's helped build your self-confidence? Or did you already have that, or did that kind of develop?
Confidence is a funny thing. It's this abstract emotion that I can be full of one day, and then the next day I'm looking around like, where the fuck did all this confidence go? No different than like in baseball, man. You can be on a hitting streak and unstoppable, and then it just, that well goes dry, you know? And so I think about it the same way. It's like, yeah, it's just, it's one of the quotes that's associated with the Converse Cowboy is the journey is the destination. And that's the one thing that I learned through that dark time of my divorce. It's like, oh, just because I checked all these boxes that I thought meant happy, like, oh, marry pretty girl, build big house, buy new cars, like that may give me temporary joy. But like this journey is like, this whole thing is the like there is no destination, you know? And so the podcast is no different. My real estate game is no different. It's just a game, you know? It's just a game.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. And then you study, if you read biographies and study entrepreneurs, successful people in the past, I mean, that's what they say. It's like the times before they made it were the fun times, you know, but when you're in them, it's like, dang, if I could just get to this goal or make this amount of money or get this thing, you know, it's going to be made, you know, we're going to be there. And then once they get there, it's like, no, those were the fun times when we didn't have anything or know what we wanted or, you know, whatever. And, but it does, I don't know, like the goal chasing is cool because it pushes you in a direction, but it's like then you grow on your way there, and then it's like your goal's completely different, it seems like, once you get there.
Yeah. I have thoughts about that. But before I do, though, there was a quote that said, you've already achieved the goals you said would make you happy. And so when you think about that, like, I have already achieved all the shit I thought would make me happy, but that goalpost keeps moving, you know? And, it's an interesting thing, man.
What do you think? Is that, what's your take on that? Is that good or bad or indifferent that once you hit a goal, you move it? Or it's like, that's what your deal is, stay grateful. And it's, like, it's a tricky thing to me, it seems like, to be grateful, but also want more. If you didn't hear Ben Hell's story on episode 69, you need to check it out. He's been earning trust in the cattle industry one handshake at a time since 1995 at Western Livestock. Western Livestock is proud to be family owned and operated now with 5 locations: Oklahoma City, Woodward, Comanche, and Waurika, Oklahoma, and also Knoxville, Iowa. They're proud to do business the Western way with honesty, integrity, and a handshake that still means something. You can join them ringside or stream their sales from wherever you are. Western Livestock, where a handshake is their word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. If you're looking to buy or sell, contact Ben Hale at 940-631-BEEF. That's 940-631-2333. Check them out on Facebook or westernlivestock.com. Western Livestock is now accepting consignments for their September 20th horse sale in Woodward, Oklahoma. Visit westernlivestock.com to learn more.
I think that I confused grateful and gratitude with complacency for a long time, and there is a difference. You can be grateful for what you have and also be grateful for like what's to come, and grateful for who you are today, and then also grateful for the higher version of you that you haven't met yet, that's just waiting. Yeah, I think you can live in both worlds, but it takes awareness, it takes perspective, it takes a lot of work. Like you can't just I think you can set an intention, and you can see where you want to go, but be open to other doors of opportunity that may present themselves to you. You know what I mean? I'm reading a book right now called Why Greatness Cannot Be Planned. And I don't agree with everything in the book, but it talks about opportunities that present themselves that go unnoticed or unrecognized. When we're just so focused and persistent on one thing, we miss the signs, we miss the hints and clues that are trying to steer us towards something different.
Yeah, it's like the opportunity for you to achieve what you want has already, like it's been there, or it's already coming past and you just didn't recognize it. Like the ability to recognize an opportunity is a skill in itself, or a trait.
Yeah, I think about it like with songwriters, and I think I've talked about this before. Corb Lund, I had him on the show a while back, and he talks about his experience is no different than the next person's life experience. The difference is, and why he can write great songs, is because his antenna is always up for writing songs. Like he may hear a conversation or he may see a thing and it hits him in a different way because he's tuned into that frequency, right? A lot of that stuff just flows by everybody else. So whatever that thing is, that intention or like thing you're chasing, be tuned to that thing, right? And it's this constant balance of like going back and forth. Because as I'm sitting there saying that, it's like chase that thing, and a listener may be like, "Yeah, but you just said there's maybe this other thing." And so it's like, yeah, I get it, dude. It's a confusing fucking game, this thing, life. But I think that's why I journal every day. I think that's why I'm tuned in to mindfulness practices, and I feel like I'm too aware at sometimes, but that's also a way of saying you're not aware enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the horse deal. Once you get into it, then you just keep coming. You just keep getting into more questions, and it's like never ending.
Yeah.
All that, the journaling and the mindfulness and the stay grateful and the reading. Did you always do that, or did it kind of come with the seeking something?
Yeah. It wasn't always something. I didn't read a book till I got out of school. And I think the first book I read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And so, yeah, that was like what my goals were set on for a long time, was just financial goals. And I still have those. Like, I don't want to mislead anybody. Like that money is important, and you should feel no guilt for making money or wanting to make money. However, if your only goal is to be rich, you'll never achieve that. Like it won't happen. Like I'm trying to think of how to say this without sounding like a guru, as if I have all of the answers, because I'm still figuring it all out, right? Like I used to do like the solo podcast like we were talking about earlier, and I would be so conscious, like, that I'm not a guru and I'm not here to preach or teach or anything. I'm just sharing what I've learned. And so that's the same thing here. Like I'm not trying to preach as if I have the answers, but this is just what's worked for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I always say that, which at my point now, it's like money's a tool, right? And what I want is freedom. I've always wanted freedom. Well, you can also have freedom being a hobo on the street. They're as free as can be. But I also like cool stuff. So, and owning it. You could also have cool stuff and not owning and just use it. But kind of my path was, and this year, too was like, I mean, all I ever wanted to do was be a cowboy, and that's what I enjoy. So now when I get to go day work, it's like a release. And so now it's like I need to be in the office or in the studio or whatever, like focusing on bigger things, but like I'm doing all this so I can go cowboy. So when I get the call, what's right to go do? Is it to go do the thing to build more and make more money, or is it the thing that makes me happy over here? So it's like the struggle. I usually choose the thing to go cowboy.
Yeah. Again, it's a balance.
Yeah.
I think you have to,
because that's what, you know, whether it's wrong or right, it's I rationalize too. It's like, this is why I do the other thing so I can go do this. And also, you never know what opportunity or who you're going to meet or what's going to happen over there either.
Yeah. Or if you're going to wake up tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean? There is that is a thing too. And that was one of the questions I had on for a while was like, are you a spend it while you got it or a save for a rainy day? Right? That was a question I used to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody flipped it on me and like, well, what are you? And I was like, yes. The answer is yes. I do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just hedged my bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always been a spender for sure and value experience. I mean, like I said, I like cool stuff, but also now I used to think like if you go on a trip, then you go spend that money and then it's gone and then all you have are the memories. But if you go buy something, then you have the thing that you can keep until you sell it or wears out or whatever. But now I'm like, yeah, but you have the memories, which is what everybody talks about. You know, when you're in the rest home or whatever, all you have is the memories. This is never permanent anyway, but the memories can be, and the experiences you have and stuff. So,
yeah,
those are super important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've kind of covered quite a bit. We went on a roundabout deal. What would you? I ask a lot of guests this, with your unique perspective, what would some financial advice be? And kind of that we've just talked about the yin and yang of money is a tool, but it's also important. What would you tell somebody that?
I don't know if I have any advice. I can share like stuff that I think about a lot and other wealthy people that I talk to think about a lot. So like making money is one thing, but keeping the money that you make is another thing, right? So like, how do you legally keep the money that you make, right? And not have to pay Uncle Sam what they say is their portion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a CPA or a tax attorney. And so I would just I'm not going to go any further than that. I would just say I would encourage people to know, like, there are legal ways. You don't have to. You can be smart. They're the smart people. And that was one of the things that I learned just from doing it, being in the game and talking to other people. They make the rules. You just play by them. But there's ways to. I'm being very economical with my words right now. But that would be one thing that I think people just kind of give into, that they don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
There are different investment vehicles and channels that you can use to save the money that you're making, keep the money that you're making.
Right. I went to an event the other day, and this guy, his talk, he had a class, that he sold to at the end, but his whole deal was about taxes, and kind of the same thing that it sounds like you've probably learned is like the wealthy aren't playing by the same rules as just a 9-to-5 or somebody else that doesn't. These people just don't know. They could play by the same rules, but they just don't know the rules pretty much.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
I used to ask top 3 books, and I've kind of changed that question to just your top resources that you direct somebody to, if it's a podcast or video or whatever. I know you read a lot too, so maybe it's all books, but what are some good resources you've found?
Man, recently I've been listening to The Diary of a CEO. It's a podcast. I think the guy's name is Stephen Bartlett. That's a good one. I like. He does a good job as a host, asks great questions, has great guests. Books, I would recommend The Awareness is a great book by Anthony DeMello. He also wrote another one called The Way to Love. Both great books. And then Joe Dispenza wrote one called You Are the Placebo. And the first two are about mindfulness. The next one is about epigenetics and neuroplasticity.
Okay. I haven't heard of that one, I guess. I've heard of Joe Dispenza on podcasts and stuff, but
yeah,
I haven't listened or read any of his books.
Yeah, he's got some powerful stuff, man. I went to one of his seminars down in Bogota, Colombia years ago. And it was one of those, like a life-changing type events. It's cool.
And I want to flip the script a little on you. If you were going to leave a message or a piece of content to the world, what would that be?
I think it would be the Ray Wiley Hubbard has a quote, and he says, "The days I keep my gratitude higher than my expectations, I have really good days." Mm-hmm. And if I could just remember that for myself or anybody else for that matter, like, the world would be a much better place.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you feel this way too, but a lot of stuff I put out, like, it's motivational or about money or business or something like that, just written posts on Facebook or solo podcast or whatever. It's not, kind of like you said, I don't know how it sounds to other people, but it's not like I'm putting that, telling you, preaching to you, I guess. But like, it's almost, I like to put it out there and be like, this is advice for me.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, anytime I started doing that, like the poster quote thing, and then I would write, usually it would just come straight from my journal. So I would put at the top of the caption, note to self. Like, this is, like, if you get something out of it, I think that's awesome. But this is really just for my own, like, reminders.
Right. And then you get to see the way social media is now, it comes back around on your memories or whatever, and it's like, dang, yes, I need to remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just found a thing the other day. I was, again, just being weird and curious. I'm like, I wonder if I can write a letter to myself in the future. And there is a platform, I forget what the name of it, like Letters to Me or something, that you can write and they will send it to you at whatever date you set. So, like, yeah, I'm going to do that as like a reminder to myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a business idea that is.
Right? I thought I was onto something. That's usually what happens to my ideas. I'm like, oh shit, heated toilet seats. That's going to be the thing. Well, come to find out, they came up with that like 30 years ago. So
there'll be something new out there.
Yeah.
Do you listen to Cody Sanchez at all?
Yeah, I think she's awesome.
So that's what, I'm pretty sure it's her podcast that she does that on the wrap up deal. They like, everybody leaves the room and then you write down a letter to your like 18-year-old self or 20-year-old self, and then they come back in and you read it out loud.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I haven't listened to her podcast. I do like tune into her content on social media though, but no, that's a cool idea.
Yeah. That would be I don't know how long they allot for that. That could turn into.
Yeah, no shit.
That'd be pretty.
She does
deep.
that for every guest.
I haven't listened to a whole lot of them, but yeah, several of them that I've listened to. Yeah, she does that.
That's cool.
What about one skill or trait, like you would to live a good life or have success in general, for somebody to kind of work on?
Gratitude. It's the closest thing we have to a superpower.
On that, I was going to ask this earlier. You're writing a book, right? Mm-hmm. It's about gratitude?
Yeah. So it started out, that's another book. it started out as a book about gratitude, because when I looked around, I'm like, man, there really aren't any books about. There are a few, but there really aren't many that I found. But in the midst of writing that book, I was like, nope, I'm going to do this book. So I started over completely about a year and a half ago. Done. I've got a locked manuscript. It'll be out in November or December. And what it is I felt like this one had to come out first. It's essentially 101 reflections, and it's the poster quote. So there'll be illustrations. For those of you who don't read, there are pictures in it. And it's the poster quote, and then my reflection below that, the notes to self, essentially. Shit, that I was trying to come up with titles. That could have been the fucking title. Notes to self. But no, the title of it is Perspective is a Verb. Because it's like I feel like my podcast and everything that I do, it's like this blend of Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy, like the balance of being and the balance of doing. And perspective is a verb, I feel like is what that book is about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, though.
Yeah. We'll have to check that out when it comes out. It's cool that it's pretty close to releasing too.
Yes. I had heard that writing a book was a challenging task. I don't know that I'll ever write another book. That first one I started, it may just stay on the shelf, dude. There is a lot. Anybody that says they're an author, like, they have done something. Yeah. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm saying, like, it is not an easy thing to do. There's so much resistance that comes up throughout the thing. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even best-selling authors, I've heard, like multiple best-selling authors. I'm thinking of Stephen Kotler. Do you know him? Stephen Kotler would have wrote The Art of Impossible and like 11 other best-selling books about the flow state.
Okay.
And so he spends a bunch of time with high performers, and he's a neuroscientist. And anyway, he said just about at some point during every book he writes, he ends up on the ground, like crying. He's in tears, like saying he's going to not go on. So
yeah, it's and you do it for no money. Like from what I've heard, a lot of people have wrote books and they're like, it's not like you don't make anything. No matter what you price it at, you basically make nothing for it, even if you're a bestseller. Willow Creek Cattle Company develops and breeds hundreds of heifers a year for their customers. They can buy, develop, and AI heifers to the bull of your choice. They're located in Northeast Kansas in the heart of the Flint Hills, so they can also start and grow your grass cattle. The U.S. cow herd is currently at the lowest inventory ever recorded, and with these record high calf prices, Willow Creek Cattle Company can provide a turnkey supply of AI bred heifers to help you rebuild your herd. Give them a call for all your backgrounding and heifer development needs, 620-344-2795.
It's like, it's no different than like it is like my Instagram account in a book, essentially, is what it is. And like, I get the messages damn near daily of something I put out hit somebody in a positive way. And that's the only reason I continue to do those.
Right.
Things. Again, it's reminders for myself, but others are finding value in it. So
yeah, it's cool to get those messages, every once in a while. And it's like you said, it's like you're just in the deal and not thinking nothing of it. And then somebody's like, that one little deal you said or whatever, like, had a huge impact on my life.
Yeah, 100%.
That got me off on, I was going to ask you on the Grateful deal. Do you know Brad Lee at all? Listen to his stuff.
Who?
Brad Lee. He kind of got me into this whole world, and I kind of modeled the podcast and everything after his, but he's got a cool perspective on the gratefulness. He says, he wakes up every morning and he just puts a smile on his face and he's like, you get another day. And he says he chooses heavenly energy, and he's just grateful. And, he's a multimillionaire entrepreneur and got several businesses and stuff, but he has a cool deal. He calls it the $1 Million Morning, which I think that's a whole nother deal too. But he said this at a speaking event. You know, he said, if I gave you $1 million, how would you feel? And everybody's like, awesome. You know, you feel like you just made $1 million, or you just got $1 million, you know, like you think it solves all your problems and all that. And he's like, what if you couldn't wake up tomorrow?
I didn't know that was his name, but I have seen that.
Yeah. And it's like, well, no, I would not take the deal. And it's like, so waking up in the morning is better than $1 million or 10 million. You know, you could put whatever number you wanted. So wake up with that energy and you know, you'll have a good day.
Yeah. 100%. I do something very similar. It's like most people wake up and the thoughts just start coming, right? And they let them come. Whereas like if you're aware, you know, you have awareness, you catch the thoughts, recalibrate your thinking into, oh no, this is another day that I woke up. This is a blessing, you know, and you smile, and it does like change the biology. It changes the energy in your body. Just a smile. There's an experiment. I think it's called the pencil experiment, where you bite a pen. You can do it right now. Bite a pen and just hold it like on the corner of your mouth, like with your like lips, and it makes you frown. And then you do it again. You hold it in your teeth, and it makes you smile. And throughout the study, they showed it changes like the energy in your body. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not trying to be a guru. Look it up. The study can show you all of the stuff that I just said is true. But yeah, dude. And that sets the tone for your day, right? Now, I can't speak to that because that is something I experience. And when I do dive into that and I do my gratitude journal in the evenings, like that's like programming my subconscious to run all night long. And then in the morning I wake up and it just picks up where I left off the night before.
What is your morning routine like, or a day in the life look like for you? I know it's going to be different for you during the day, but what's you probably have some type of routine.
I did once upon a time, man. I was very strict, and I have two different lives. I feel like my business is in Louisiana, and I also live here in Texas, and so those mornings are very different. But it just depends. I like to get up early. So once upon a time, I would wake up at 3:33. I'd read a little bit out of a book. I'd go run at 5. There's a badass running group back home, and then I come back, journal, take a shower, go to the office, do my real estate stuff, and that changes here. You know, like I'm riding horses as much as I can, especially in the summertime. It's early mornings, going to ride, and so I'm just allowing myself the freedom to go do those things. And that was tough too, like not being so strict with the schedule. Yeah, I go back and forth, you know, like with how strict I am with a morning routine, and my personality. I have to have structure. So like doing something outside of that's a challenge, but I make myself do it just for the uncomfortability, I guess. I don't really know. It may not make sense to a lot of people, but I do like the routine. Like this morning, I'm beating around the bush here. This morning, I woke up at 5:15. I did a meditation. I went to the gym. I ran, and then I went back to the house. And then whatever happens after that throughout the day, I'm doing real estate stuff. And then I try to never use the words never and always. But I strive to. The intention is to do a gratitude practice every night. And it always, I like pen to paper. I write it out. And it's present tense. I am grateful for, fill in the blank. And it can be something that, yes, I have going on right now that I've already done in the past, or something that I'm trying to manifest, right? And then so that's something Joe Dispenza talks about, like having gratitude for something as if it has already happened, because our brains can't distinguish between what is real and what is just going on in our brain.
Yeah, what you make it think is real.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm the opposite. I took a personality test. I've said it on here, from Patrick Bet David. I don't remember what all this deals were, but it says I thrive in chaos, and I like I have to work to do structure, and I wouldn't say like I don't like structure. Like I enjoy the periods, but I also like going, changing settings or whatever. There's settings like I said, I'm more business settings where I'm more cowboy, more, just different things. I don't know. I like to change it up and not stay the same for too long. So
I think that's freedom, when you have the ability to do that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I always ask everybody kind of a goofy question. What's your favorite restaurant?
Dude, there's this place. My fiance and I went to the Angola Rodeo, which is the state penitentiary in Louisiana. And if you've never been, it's not much of a rodeo. It's like an organized killing. But anyway, I flew into Natchez, Mississippi, and what is the name of the restaurant, man? I think it's called The Castle. It looks like a castle. It's in Natchez, Mississippi. There's so many good restaurants around here and in Louisiana, and I'm picking somewhere in Mississippi. But they had the best like banana cream pie. It was amazing, dude. These bananas were sliced so thin, and the food was great. That was just this spring. So there's so many other good ones I'm probably missing, but that one stands out.
Yeah, and I like. I always say it's a goofy questions, but I like the insight. And everybody has something different. I got Texas Roadhouse for like 3 episodes in a row.
Don't take a food recommendation from that person.
And Charlie Buchanan, you know him,
the vet.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally. I know the name.
Yeah. So he actually gave me one in Brazil and one in California. So
nice.
Way out of the. Most people have something right around here.
Oh, I'll plug some local places. Christina's in Granbury on the Square is good, and Omaline's in Hyco. Holy shit, that's good.
Yeah.
Not just good food, atmosphere, everything.
Yeah, Omaline's. I don't think we've been to Christina's, but been to Omaline several times.
Yeah.
Not too far away. So.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I'm sure everybody knows to check you out. Check out your podcast on all the platforms that they check this one out on. Your Instagram. What's your biggest platform? Is it Instagram?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And then your book. Do you have a release date or just sometime November, December?
Man, I was talking to my publishing manager yesterday about that. She gave me a date that I didn't like, and I was like, no. We need to make it sooner. So as of right now, it's like middle of December, but I'm pushing to hopefully have it out sometime in November and before the NFR. So we'll hopefully be in Vegas with some copies, and
you're going to have like a launch deal maybe, or?
Oh yeah. Cool. I'll be plugging it. People will probably be tired of it later this year, but yeah, I'll be plugging the heck out of it. So, and it'll be on the website, conversecowboy.com.
Awesome. And you got merch and stuff on there, I see.
Yeah.
Stay Grateful merch.
Yep. Hats,
awesome.
Shirts, all the things. We just started selling the poster quotes too, so for those
yes, I remember
interested in buying those, they're just taking up space in my closet. So.
Did you just got them all stacked up? Did you throw any away or?
Oh yeah, some have been thrown away over the years. But dude, I was blown away. I posted that. I don't know how many of those that I sold. It was insane. Yeah, and I was determined to get them all out because I went out of the country shortly after that, and so yeah, it was amazing. The people that actually wanted those and the support, it was cool.
Yeah. Those are cool. They'd be cool to hang up somewhere. So
yeah, good reminders.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and y'all go check him out. Check out the Converse Cowboy. Follow for all the new stuff he's got coming out. We'll see y'all next time. As a business owner, Google reviews can make or break you. The problem, happy customers don't always speak up, and the few bad ones can drag you down fast. That's why we built Review Wizard, a free tool that makes getting 5-star reviews simple. Just post a QR code in your business, customers can scan it, and in seconds they leave you a review. But that's just the start. Review Wizard helps you respond to customers automatically, share reviews straight to social media, and even add them to your website to build instant trust. Every new review boosts your Google SEO ranking, making it easier for new customers to find you online. And if you want to take it to the next level, our AI upgrade can filter out the bad reviews before they hit your page and engage with your customers so you don't lose them. That means more good reviews, less damage control, and stronger relationships. The best part, the base version is completely free. No catch. Just click the link below and start turning your happy customers into your best marketing team today.